When you suck in the beginning, you plant a seed for future excellence. Water it with persistence and watch it grow. Hey guys, welcome back to the Leaders Realm podcast. I'm your host, Tony Cammarata, serial entrepreneur, certified Maxwell team member, business coach, personal mindset coach, sales trainer, and speaker. Guys, I am so excited that you're here with me today. If you've been following this podcast for any period of time, you know that I often take time to dive deep into topics that inspire growth, provoke thought, encourage you to live a life full of purpose, and to activate a beast mode mindset. You know, we've all heard phrases like practice makes perfect or no pain, no gain. What do those sayings really boil down to? You've got to be willing to suck at something in order to succeed. Let that sink in for a minute. It's a bold statement, isn't it? I mean, nobody likes to feel like they're bad at something. But if we're not willing to embrace the discomfort of being a beginner, we'll never, ever grow, we'll never improve, and we will never reach our fullest potential. Today, I want to break down this concept into small bite-sized insights. I want to discuss why being bad at something is a requirement for success, how to overcome the fear of failure, and what happens when you commit to this mindset. I also want to draw from some powerful stories, both biblical and secular, of people who they've embraced failure and rose to greatness. So sit back, grab that coffee, and let's get ready, guys. Let's challenge our perspective on growth, success, and the courage it takes to get there. So guys, why is sucking a non-negotiable for success? Let's start with an obvious question. Why do we need to be willing to fail? Why is that so important? The truth is, nobody starts out as an expert. Every master was once a beginner. Every successful entrepreneur, artist, athlete, and leader started from scratch, making mistakes along the way. But what separates them from everyone else? It's their willingness to endure the messy, awkward, and sometimes painful early stages of learning. Their willingness to suck. So let's bust a myth right here. The myth of overnight success. You know, we live in a world today that just loves instant gratification. Social media only fuels this illusion. We see people posting all of their achievements, their highlights, their great vacations, their success, their perfect minutes, their perfect pictures. But what we don't see are the countless hours of practice, the setbacks, the failed attempts. They don't share that with us. Take Michael Jordan, for example. Probably the greatest basketball player of all time. Jordan didn't even make his high school team his sophomore year. Can you imagine being told that you're not good enough at the one thing that you dream of most? Instead of giving up, what did he do? He used that rejection as fuel to be the best that he could be. Thomas Edison, this guy, he failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. And yet, when he's asked about his failures, he famously said, and I love this, I haven't failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. You know, if we look to the Bible, it's full of stories that show us the power of perseverance. One of my favorite verses is Proverbs 24:16. It says, "For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again." I mean, think about King David for a minute. Before he became a great king, he spent years as a shepherd boy, overlooked by his family, mocked by others, even hunted by King Saul. His journey was filled with setbacks and struggles, but each of those moments shaped him into the leader that he would become. You see, guys, God often uses our weakest moments to prepare us for greatness. When we embrace our imperfections and trust the process, we position ourselves for the victories that he's got in store for us. So if willing to fail is so important, why do so many people avoid it? The number one reason is fear of judgment. Nobody likes to look bad, right? Whether it's fumbling through a new skill, making a mistake at work, starting a project that flops, just the idea of being judged can be absolutely paralyzing. But you know what, guys? Here's a reality. Ready? Guess what? Most people aren't paying attention to you. Chances are they're way too busy worrying about their own lives to scrutinize yours. Take that in. Those are the facts. Stop worrying about what everyone else is going to think and what everyone else is going to do. A great example of that is this podcast. When I started this podcast, I wanted it to be perfect. Why? Because I was afraid of what others would think. I've been told no one wants to listen to you. You don't have that kind of voice. What are you thinking? You can't articulate properly. You know, I'll admit I wasn't great at it. In fact, I still don't consider myself to be great at it. But one thing that I know for sure, my goal in all of this was to be as relatable and as authentic as possible. I'm not trying to be everyone else. Yes, I stumble over my words. My editing isn't polished. Heck, I wasn't even sure if anyone would even listen. But I pressed on anyway because I felt the calling. And guess what? Even though the episodes aren't what I consider perfect, they're necessary. And here's how I know this. I know this because of the feedback that I get from all of you. Those of you that take the time to share with me and thank me for the content that I put out. See, my goal is if I can help just one person per episode, it's a win in my book. All of the mistakes, the stumbles, the volume issues that I have from time to time, heck, the sirens in the background, they're all worth it. Why? Because they're laying the foundation for what this podcast is becoming. In fact, I've got other fellow podcasters now coming to me and asking me for help and advice on technology and content creation, just like I did in the beginning. And I had one podcaster say to me, Tony, stop waiting for the perfect episode. You need to launch it. Yeah, but what if it doesn't sound right? But you need to launch it. You've got to take that first action step. And that's what I did. And if you go back and listen to some of my earlier episodes, I mean, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So you see, to overcome the fear of failure, we've got to reframe how we view it. What if instead of seeing failure as something to avoid, you saw it as proof that you're even trying? See, failure means you're in the game. It means that you're taking the risks. The opposite of success isn't failure, guys. It's inaction. By avoiding failure, you're also avoiding growth. So some of you may be asking, how do we embrace sucking at something? It goes against the grain. How do you actually get comfortable with being uncomfortable? Start small. Stop overwhelming yourself by trying to tackle everything at one time. Break the skill or the project into smaller steps. Focus on the progress, not the perfection. Remember, the goal is growth. Celebrate your small wins along the way. Find the right mentors, coaches, people that can guide you. Be open to the constructive criticism that they're willing to give. It's a gift, guys, not an attack. The more you push through your discomfort, the easier it becomes. Over time, you build the mental toughness to face the bigger and bigger challenges. Personally, myself, I rely on God's strength. When I step into something new, it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. But God reminds me in 2 Corinthians 12:9, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Let him shine through you. You see, I know that when I'm weak, God is strong. And by leaning on him, I find the courage to take that next step and to push forward. Before starting something new, I ask God for wisdom and courage. The courage to overcome the fear. I spent time finding and seeking verses that encourage perseverance and keep them close. I do my best to remember that God's timing, his timing is perfect, not mine. And that's where I think where a lot of us stumble. Guys, we've got to learn to embrace the suck and push through failure. When you push through failure, you're not just growing for yourself, but you're inspiring others. Whether you see it or not, you're inspiring others. Think about the people watching you, your kids, employees, friends. See, your willingness to endure the hard parts of growth can motivate them to do the same. If we all took the time to do that, think about the world we would live in today. But be careful, guys. Be careful of the common pitfalls, like perfectionism. Perfectionism can paralyze us before we even get started. So I encourage you, instead of aiming for perfection, how about we start aiming for progress? It was and still is a challenge for me. But I'm learning that if I just take a small step forward, I'm creating an action. And when I create that action, eventually I'll master that task. And so will you. Another huge pitfall is don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Success looks different for everyone. So that we have an understanding of why embracing the struggle is so essential, let's focus on how to push through it. How do you push through the suck stage? So I've got some action steps and doing my research here that are designed to help us overcome the fear of failure, build momentum, and ultimately take us to a place of success. It's important to understand that starting small, guys, doesn't mean that you're thinking small. It means you're breaking your goals into manageable pieces so that we can focus on consistent progress. So start out by setting the micro goals that I always talk about. Take your larger goal, cut it up into smaller bite-sized pieces that are more achievable. So for example, if your goal is to run a marathon one day, start by running a single mile, a half a mile. If you want to write a book, make a commitment to just writing 200 words a day. Another important step is set a start date. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist, guys. Set a specific date to start and treat it like an absolute non-negotiable appointment with yourself. And stop making excuses. Eliminate them. Identify the excuses that you tell yourself. Oh, I'm too busy. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. Write them down. And then write down counter arguments. Next, embrace feedback and learn. Feedback is one of the fastest ways to improve, but only if you're willing to accept it. Ask specific questions. When you're seeking feedback, don't just ask, hey, how did I do? Instead, ask targeted questions like, what's one thing I can improve on? Or what stood out to you? Find a trusted mentor. Surround yourself with people. I say this week after week. Surround yourself with like-minded people who have experience in the area that you're pursuing. Their insights will help you avoid a lot of these pitfalls that we talk about. It'll certainly accelerate your growth. Keep a journal. After you receive this feedback, write down what you've learned and how you'll apply it moving forward. All this does is it reinforces the learning process. Track your progress. Don't forget to celebrate the milestones. Tracking progress helps us stay motivated. It gives us a clear picture of how far we've come. Create a simple system. It could be a spreadsheet, a journal. Example, track the number of words you write if that's what your goal is, to write a book. Track the hours that you practice. Or if you're in sales, track the number of sales calls you make. Early in my career, I used to track every single dial with every single contact, with every single business owner, with every single appointment. After a while, my business became 100% predictable. I knew that I had to pick up that phone this many times to get X amount of appointments to earn X amount of sales. Imagine if everything was so predictable. It is. But we can't draw that picture unless we start holding ourselves accountable by creating a simple system to track everything that we're doing. Celebrate your small victories. Don't wait until you've achieved the giant goal. Reward yourself for hitting the smaller milestones. Whether it's completing your first 10 workouts or finishing the first chapter of your book. Learn to visualize your success. Create a vision board, a dream board, or just a mental picture of what success will look like to you. It's different for all of us. Review it regularly, and it'll keep you motivated. Remember, it's step by step. And guys, commit to lifelong learning. The best performers in any field understand that growth is an ongoing process. Dedicate time for learning. Schedule 30 minutes every day to read, watch tutorials, practice your craft. Continuous learning ensures that we're always improving. Learn from your failures. After every mistake, ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I do differently next time? Invest in yourself. Attend those workshops. Hire a coach. Take online courses. View these investments as the seeds for your future. We have to build resilience, guys, through a growth mindset. Everything we look at, no matter what it is, has to do 100% with our mindset. Remember, resilience, it's the ability to bounce back after failure. Without it, you'll quit. And you'll quit way before you reach your full potential. Adopt a not yet mentality. Instead of saying, I'm bad at this, say, I'm not good at this yet. Adding yet does something, guys. It reframes our mindset to focus on the potential and not the limitations. And practice gratitude, guys. Focus on what you've achieved instead of dwelling on the setbacks. Each day, just write down 3 small things that you're grateful for on your journey. Along with embracing the suck, embrace the journey. Love it. Reframe challenges as opportunities. When we're faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? See, instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, view them as the opportunities that they are. Growth. And guys, I can't stress this part enough, and I do it all the time. Reconnect with your why. Because when things get tough, our why is the only thing that keeps us moving forward. Write down your purpose. Ask yourself, why am I pursuing this goal? What will achieving it mean for me, for my family, for my community? Write those answers down and keep them handy. Keep them visible. Put them on your mirror, in your car, wherever, so they're in front of you all the time. Reflect on your legacy. Think about how your perseverance is going to impact others. Whether it's inspiring your kids, helping other clients, leaving a lasting impact, your why is bigger than you guys. It's never just about us. If your why is big enough, it's not going to be about you and you only. And take the time to revisit your vision. On those tough days, remind yourself of the future that you're working towards. Visualize it as vividly as you possibly can. Use it to reignite your passion. Learn to manage your inner critic. This is a constant struggle for me also. The voice in our heads, man, it can either propel us forward or completely hold us back. We've got to identify the negative thoughts. It's time, guys. It's time to pay attention to the self-doubt or the critical thoughts that arise when we're struggling. Challenge your limiting beliefs. Replace "I'll never get this right" with every mistake gets me closer to being my best self. Practice positive affirmations. Use affirmations like, "I'm fully capable of learning and growing." Every expert was once a beginner. Every expert once sucked. And I'm proud of my progress. There is nothing wrong with being proud of yourself. In fact, some of us go most of our lives without ever hearing, "I'm proud of you." So why not just start telling ourselves, "I'm proud of my progress"? And finally, guys, take action. Even when you don't feel ready, even when you don't feel like it. Take a step. You see, the best way to overcome fear is to take action, no matter how small it is. Just commit, guys. Commit to a daily action, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. Consistent effort compounds over time. Try to do more today than you did yesterday. Try to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. And you'll be amazed at where you'll be 30 days down the road, a year from now. Don't wait. Don't wait for perfection, guys. Accept that in the beginning, you're going to suck. You're not going to be perfect. Celebrate the courage to begin. Just starting puts you ahead of the majority. Acknowledge the bravery that it takes to step outside of your comfort zone. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it as part of the process. Remember, every great journey starts with a single imperfect step. I encourage you, be bold, be persistent, and never, ever be afraid to suck at something new. Thank you for joining me today, guys. I hope this episode has inspired you. I hope it sparked something inside of you to embrace the suck and to start down a path that leads you to the greatest success of your lives. Until next time, this is Tony Cammarata. And remember, guys, stay fast, stay fluid, stay flexible. Be the absolute best that you can be, because your best is yet to come.